Call the meeting to order on the May 3rd meeting of the HVAC Building Committee. We'll stand for the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Okay. Thank you for the flag. Sorry, racing through this. Busy Friday here. Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the April 12th minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 12th.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you both.
I
I get a
abstain.
motion to approve the April 26th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of meeting for April 26th meeting.
We have a second. I'll second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Against, one abstention. Very good. Thank you all. That passes 2-0-1. Okay, project updates.
Hey, let me share my screen and I'll do a little walkthrough again if you want, Jeff.
Thanks, Tim.
Sure.
There we go. You should have the screen, Tim.
Yes, I am sharing it right now. Let me know if everyone can see.
We can.
Good to go.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So we'll start with Osborne. So Osborne, this week, we actually finished up with all of the phase 1 demolition that we were going to do at this moment on Wednesday evening. So we had last inspection Thursday morning, which we passed. We had a couple small adjustments we had to make, which we took care of last night. And I showed Mike from the building department a couple of photos this morning, and he was happy with what he saw. So as of right now, phase 1 for Osborne Hill, we are complete. And now we'll basically be focusing our efforts and attention on Fairfield Woods to continue through that process. So I'll move over to Fairfield Woods, obviously the larger school with more sequence. So last week when I showed you the update, we had only done these 3 classrooms. So we followed on into Friday night with this classroom, and then we went through this week and we doubled up. And we actually got both of these done last night. So because we were able to focus a little bit more manpower and crew due to Osborne completing a little bit earlier, we shifted that manpower and focus over to Fairfield Woods last night, and it allowed us to kind of get these 2 knocked out. That way, you know, Friday night, we didn't have to burden the school, the custodial staff and everything with, you know, Friday night work. We are going to look to do something similar next week as well, if we can. But right now, we're hitting our schedule, which is great. And right now, for Monday, the 6th, we are looking to start this corridor, which will be we're going to have to see if we sequence this into 2 nights or 1 night. Again, it's a large corridor. We did realize that there's a little less sprinkler work we have to do in this particular corridor due to some existing conditions, but it's still a pretty lengthy corridor to demolish in 1 night. So we are going to see if there's a point where we can put a break if we can't get to it, because again, the main focus is not to take off more than we can chew, and make sure that when we come in, 7:30 in the morning for our inspection, that we don't have any loose ends for the school.
So, Tim, those dates under in the dates in red for the sections, those are all the targeted start dates.
Yeah. So right now we're targeting, right. Yes. These are all the target start dates. Like I said, I think 5, 6, Jeff, I know you've walked this with me, but these corridors are relatively long. I think, we may decide to put a break in here somewhere and maybe do part of the corridor the next night and maybe the small team room. So, we gave these dates to the school to just make sure that they are, aware. And the main push we have was for the classrooms because we had to have the clear out schedule. The nice thing about the corridors is that, there's no real need for the school to intervene. We just go and put our plastic up and, obviously at the appropriate time, and then we just get to work. So we have a little more flexibility if one night we break this in half because we're not really stressing the school, which is good.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, these are target dates and we're still pushing to try to get done by the 15th, which means we'd be out of Fairfield Woods' hair for that remainder of the, 4 weeks of the school year left. But again, we're doing well. That's what we're happy about. We're getting good feedback from the teachers and the principals. We've had a few questions about, air quality, this and that, and the team has kind of jumped on that to diffuse it. I know Sal and Mark have routed, just the hazmat reports. We've addressed stuff with the principals, and it seems that at this point, we've been able to just respond to the concerns and make sure that everybody is comfortable with what's going on right now.
Okay. So the idea, so we're at the target would be then to be out of Woods on the 17th, that Friday, sort of wrapped up.
Yeah, I would say by the 17th. Yeah, yes, give or take a day or so. But by that 17th, that's my goal, is to be out of there, and then we just let them be for the next few weeks after that until June 15th, and we can get back in and start doing additional work.
Right. Okay. And the same thing with Osborne, then there's nothing else being done until until school's out.
Yes, no, not. And we're gonna, we're gonna hold off on any particular another advancements. We actually are looking at maybe tweaking our phasing plan and logistics over at North Stratfield. These are conversations we've been having with the construction team just due to the nature of the ceilings there and the lights that are to remain. That, obviously was why we didn't do full demo there this past month. So we're looking to see if we can kind of readdress that situation and maybe get the classrooms finished up this summer. So again, before we jump into, because I know the questions have been, can we continue? Is there more places we can get to? So we are evaluating that situation right now. And we just don't want to jump into another section of any of these schools without making sure that we are focusing the manpower and the efforts in the right direction. So I think as of now, we're hitting these dates. We're going to hold these dates, and then we're going to kind of reassess the phasing specifically for North Stratfield.
Okay. And what is
I have that
what is where is North Stratfield in this?
North Stratfield, well, we haven't had any work there in a couple of weeks now since we finished up the initial what we could do on the week of April break.
Yep.
But right now, I'm still baking that phasing. So once I kind of get that under wraps, I can share that with the team.
Okay. Joe, Rod, anybody questions, concerns, comments?
Nothing yet, no.
No, I'm good.
Very good. All right, thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Any other updates on that? Mark, anything else on those three or on fits for that matter?
No.
Okay. Moving on to phases 2.2 through 5.
We are meeting weekly as a team on phase 2 through 5. With the approval on April 5th, we are looking at DD set the week of May 20th, and how we arrange it, we will still get the numbers that we need, or the DD estimates in that, for the summit in the fall. And I will send around the milestone schedule for that, or the macro schedule for that, showing that.
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, for the Tomlinson numbers, can we get it to the Board of Ed earlier? It has to be looked at and approved by the Board of Ed before the workshop. I'll get you a specific date. I know it was brought up in past meetings before, but I just need to bring you up to speed on that.
So Mr. Lee, thank you. That date, Mark, I don't know if you have the calendar at your fingertips, but that date did get plugged into the plan when we had spoken about that a few weeks back. So I know that was that was the target, right? And
Correct.
there's the
Correct.
understanding of having phase 2 numbers are more important than the others.
Correct. We had, I mean, I haven't shared this with the team, but it's going to be, as we talked about, it's probably going to come in 2 phases. It's coming in the 12th for probably the next 2 phases, 2 and 3, and then the final 2 phases probably that week after, which would be 4 and 5.
I'm gonna need it for the August Board of Ed meeting, just on Tomlinson. I don't need the other phases. I just need on that one building, because I believe that's what has to be approved on our end.
What's the date?
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
get you the date for the August meeting, so we can get it. If it's that Tuesday, the 27th, I believe, I need to get it in front of them maybe the week before. I will confirm the date with you, though. I'll send an email to
I
everyone.
mean, we will have a schematic design number that will be basically mid-June. That we can plug, we'll have that number, and I would need to talk to the team to see if we can get the design development number prior to that.
Okay, let me
Let
confirm the date with you and the committee.
Please.
But anything,
What is the action the BOE will be taking on that date?
I believe we as the BOE have to approve a budget just on the Tomlinson project. I believe that was the reason for it. We get it. It's always moving, because I believe we need that for the workshop.
Okay, so we may have to come up with a situation where we have to create a range and give you a higher end number of a range to adjust, and then hope for.
Correct. That's the way I'm looking at it too. Obviously, I think we all want to agree, we'd rather be over than under.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So Mark, we'll have to review the schedule and see what we can.
Yep.
What's realistic there.
And we'll talk with the team. Tomlinson is not as complicated as the 2 high schools, so it is depending on the design and what the potential work is there. It might be a number that we can carve out earlier.
When is the walkthrough for Tomlinson scheduled? Did that happen?
Has not happened. We are looking at 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Other updates on 2 through 5? Anything?
No, none from me.
Okay. Joe, Rod, anything on phases 2 through 5? You guys?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
No.
All right. So moving on to approvals. I'll change the order a bit here. Let's do the invoice packet first.
Okay.
Here's my invoice.
It is. We received the final payouts yesterday, probably mid-morning. and I got them out individually to you. I compiled them this morning and sent them out. But nothing has changed. Well, the only thing that has changed is after our meeting yesterday, we had with BL in the meeting, they did sign and certify all 3 pay applications.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept all 3 pay recs for Gilbane dated 4/30/2024. Total amount $758,152.31.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Okay. So moving on to the ATP packets. On the Gilbane side, you want to explain that one a bit, Mark?
Yeah. I will lead off, and then Tim, if you want to add color, Tim or Mark, if you want to add color.
Yeah, sure.
They basically for all 3 schools, well, all the ATPs, there are 10 ATPs, which are authorizations to proceed. They are all estimated. So this is just basically giving Gilbane yes, it is a change, basically the authorization to proceed with the work, knowing that it is a change, or in this case, 9 out of the 10 are use of allowances, and the 10th one is a change to their contract. All 3, well, of the 9, there are 3 at each school. One is for the tie-up of the electrical, existing electrical above the ceiling. This was an issue at Holland Hill and Mill Hill, so an allowance was carried that we knew the building officials were going to want these tied up so there were no loose wires hanging above the ceiling. So that is one of them at all 3 schools. The other one is for the sprinkler heads that were in the ceiling, as we removed the ceilings, they needed to be turned upright and be brought up to within 12 to 18 inches of the ceiling deck, so they can be activated with the smoke using the roof deck. And then the third allowance that they are looking to use is the at the tops of the corridor walls and the walls between the classrooms. There are existing gaps between, and knowing previous experience from the schools, the building officials will want those gaps filled. One for sound transmission across the classrooms, and the other one to create a barrier between the classrooms and the corridor. So Gilbane is looking for authorization to use allowance on those 3 cases. And then the last one, see if I can find it real quick. In woods on the 2nd floor, there is this insulation board or form board. We couldn't determine what it was. There is it looks like the eave or the soffit condition, the exterior soffit condition of the building. It looks like this is a form board that holds the part of that on the exterior of the second floor. Not knowing if this was transite or just insulation board, it was encased and it will be tested and removed during the summer. So this is the estimated amount. It comes out to be about $1,000 per room in each of the classrooms, and there's 11 classrooms.
Okay, so from the first 9, just to clarify, the first 9 were are all identified through allowances in the existing budget.
Correct.
And they would be handled. They would not modify the GMP.
Correct.
And you said the 10th one did not have an allowance, so it's an ad that would have to be addressed through contingency.
Correct.
And the 10th.
How many rooms have?
Go ahead.
Sorry, how many rooms have that board in them?
11 of them.
And this board is the 10th one you're speaking of. So that's the $11,000 is the estimate for the 10th ATP.
Correct.
Is that just encapsulation or including the removal?
That was just the encapsulation and the additional cleaning that we did in each room after we performed the encapsulation to make sure that following Monday, there was no traces of anything within the room.
Will there be an additional cost for the removal?
Yeah, we'll have
Further
to
down the
address
road.
it. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to address it in the future once we get testing done and we know if it's just it'll be cheaper if it's a simple just, hey, cut it down or remove it, or if it's got some type of, if it's hot and we have to do an abatement, it's another, that falls into another bucket. So we'll determine that obviously as soon as we can once school's out.
Mark, can you get us an accounting of this? How it affects the allowances and contingency, please?
Yes.
And in going forward in the future, can you supply that when these ATPs come in at the same time?
Will do. Yep.
Were there costs carried in the GMP for abatement? If something like this popped up, is there an abatement contingency or an abatement bucket
Yes, there is.
in the GMP?
Yes.
So
Yes,
this could
we-
theoretically fall under that if it was ACM and it needed to be abated. This could fall under that, and we wouldn't be looking at a large change order, or
Correct. We could, yes.
I guess we'll figure it out when the tests come back.
What's the turnaround time for that testing? I know it wouldn't be done until the summer. Is that how long is the?
I think it's usually like a few days to a week max. I mean, they just take the sample. I think they can get it turned around sometimes in a few days. So if they take the sample, we just got to get them access and just.
Okay, so fairly short then. Okay.
Yeah, the testing agency is in Enviromed, I believe the consultant uses, and they're right here local.
And it can
Mark,
be done prior
what
to
are you showing us?
into school. This is one of the allowance, and in Gilbane's ATP, they show what the original allowance amount, what the authorization for the ATP is, and what the current balance of the allowance is. But yes, I do have accounting of it, so I will provide that with the ATPs when I send to the committee.
And worst case scenario, if this needs to be abated, are we looking at serious scheduling impacts or a few days?
I think I have to talk to Oscars to see like what that obviously if it's got like if it's an ACM product, we'd have to do negative air containment full plastic of the room. They have to do like just the curtain plastic as well, and like maybe along the perimeter there where they're actually doing the work. Negative air, they'd have to do, I think, outside air testing as well. So we'd have to set that up. I don't think the work itself, pulling the boards down, is going to be as lengthy of a time. Some of them are already
Right.
laminating, but I think it's the process of just the containments. So I could get us an update once we know what the scope is. To say that it won't impact the schedule, I mean, there definitely would be impacts. Could we work around it? Of course, we'll have to do our best to maybe like bring our work to a different part of the building or a
Mhm.
floor below. We would obviously juggle that as it comes, but obviously we potentially could have, maybe a week worth of abatement work, a classroom a day between setup, a final clean, all that type of stuff to make sure we're in the bounds of the abatement.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
but if known, it should not extend the completion date.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it would have hurt us there. We can plan and work through that.
Hey,
Okay.
Tim, it's Amar. Is there any reason we can't sample it now?
We did talk
Figure out
about that
the
yesterday
rate?
with Sal and Mark. I think,
Yeah.
there's a chance that we could get somebody in there, on a Saturday and they could kind of go up, supervised and just take a sample and start the testing process so we could plan for it. We did discuss that yesterday afternoon. We just didn't get a chance to circle back and, make it official.
Well, do you
I
have
would
to
do it
test?
after
You don't have to
hours.
test every area, do you?
No,
Um,
you can take representative samples of certain
Yeah.
rooms, and they can test it after school hours. It doesn't have to be Saturday.
Yeah, it
I
takes
don't-
10 minutes to take a test.
All right. Take a couple of swatches from a couple of locations and get it tested. We should be able to know by next week. I try to do that. Is it the environment that you're dealing with out there?
Well,
Well,
yeah, well,
It's Woodward and Kern, so they
right.
typically use environment.
All right. So can we
well,
at
Mark,
least
if
get
you
an
wanna,
idea?
Mark, yeah, Mark, if you want to set that up with Woodard and Curran, let us know. I mean,
Yep.
we'll obviously be here after hours. We can have someone break off to walk with them and supervise it if we need.
And that's after hours from a school perspective we're talking about. We want students.
Yeah.
We don't want any students or teachers in the building.
Correct.
Okay. So for Rod and Joe, do you guys get a chance to read through all these ATPs? Are you comfortable moving forward, or do you guys need time to review them?
I could use another week, to be honest. I've been swamped lately.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, that aligns with my schedule as well. So, Mar, hopefully that doesn't stress you out at all. We defer it for another week.
Jeff, if I could speak for a quick minute on that. If the committee, if it's okay, approve and based on contingent on your review, I'm totally fine. It's just because internally we've proceeded with the work technically already, and we need some level of acknowledgement that these are okay to proceed. If that's okay with the committee, that would be great. You could just vote on them, say approve contingent on your review by next week, if that's possible.
Well, and one way of avoiding this is to get it to the committee sooner.
I totally understand, Rodney. That's fine. We obviously proceeded with the work because we're under a crunch and assembled. We didn't know how much of that work was going to be anticipated, so it's kind of a little bit of a timing issue. So again, 1 week is not going to do anything to us, like I said, and if it's okay, if not, that's totally fine. We can wait till next week. Again, I'm not, I just went internally because we code these as proceeding at risk versus proceeding with authorization. But if it pleases the committee next week, that's totally fine. We'll do the best we can to produce these well in advance to you folks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what a motion with would look like if it's approval upon review versus what we have now. So we'll just shelve that till we'll have to table that till next week. I apologize, Marble. Let's get that. Yeah, let's try to get that scheduling better. On the B&L, Mark.
This is for, as part of the original BL proposal for the work, they had a structural allowance. They have expended that. This is for the, another structural allowance for basically the construction phase of the project. When we spoke on Wednesday, Jeff, I thought it was 25. It's 15 per school. So it ends up being about, if you use $200 an hour for engineer time or a composite engineer time, it works out to be about 75 hours per school for a structural engineer. So it's about 2 weeks, and it covers, well, Jesse, if you want to speak to what it covers, I know it covers also special inspections and the structural engineer's CA on the job.
Yeah,
But if you
I mean,
want to
Mark,
expand, Jesse.
no, that really sums it up. It's mostly going to be CA time with the special inspections also included there. And I think, just to clarify, Mark, I think the two elementary schools are 15,000 and the middle school is 20. Nope, it's not. Never mind. Sorry, my mistake. Let me double check that one while we're on here, Mark. I'll get back to you in 5 minutes, just when I find it.
Okay. While he's doing that, Joe or Rod, do you guys have any other questions on this?
So this is $45,000 in addition, unaccounted for in our budget.
Correct.
Okay. Where's this $45,000 coming from? Is that coming from the owner's contingency?
Owner's contingency.
And why was this not accounted for in the original proposal?
I'll answer that if that's okay. Back with the RFP for this project, we were instructed to use the structural allowance rather than include it in the fixed fee portion of the project. So that would.
Okay, so why didn't the allowance, did we give you the allowance?
Yes, for the RFP.
We gave it. Okay, all right, never mind.
Oh, no, actually, no. I'm sorry. It was each school. So when we responded to the RFP, we had to provide fees for each of like the 9 different phases for each school. So I think we put in the allowance to use on that. I'm not positive. I can look that up too now here and get you an answer on that right away.
Yeah. I thought there was an existing allowance of $15,000 per school.
If that's the case, then I understand.
But that was, I thought the initial $15,000 allowance was already used up, I believe. Was it not? This is an additional $15,000?
Yes, the original allowances were used up close to the end of CDs being completed. We didn't want to prevent them from being completed, so we just threw that in without anything. But yes, we've used up all of the allowances for all 3 schools at this point. And Mark, going back to the one that's on the screen here, this was an old version. There's a newer version that has 25,000 for Fairfield Woods because our structural team thought that was more realistic with the amount of work going on at that school. And again,
Okay.
it's an hourly allowance. I mean, however you want to deal with it. But there should be one. I think it's dated the next day. Like this one. This one's March 6th, and there should be
under the auspices of efficiency, as he looks that up, I just want to, under new business, we have there's a note, there is no meeting on 5/17, which is 2 weeks out. I just wanted to remind everyone of that.
Yeah.
I have the March 6th one up.
This is the March 6th one of what, Mark? Sorry.
The BL showing the 25,000 for Fairfield Woods.
So this is the original contingency?
No, this was,
This is the new ask.
yes, this is the new ask.
So
Mark had originally
55,000.
put up on the screen one that I had sent him a correction to.
Okay. So by Robert's rules, we would look to get a motion made to approve the ATP from B&L for $55,000. So I'll make a motion to approve the $55,000 being requested from B&L on the Phase 1 Osborne Hill for $15,000, North Stratfield for $15,000, and Fairfield Woods for $25,000, for a total of $55,000.
I'll second.
All right. So additional discussion on this topic?
Nope.
I do want to make sure that these items should be reflected in the subsequent phases, right? As known entities or right, we can refine the budget for subsequent phases.
We'll carry a number for it.
Right, Jesse, do you have any other comments on this? Point of clarification.
No, but I can check the future phases and see if I think we structured it the same way because back when we responded to the RFP a year and 4 months ago, we put in fees at that time for all the future phases. So in order to keep the fees exactly the same as on our RFP, we used the same structural allowances for the future piece, which is not a problem for design development, which carries through everything we're doing this year. So that allowance would cover, I am certain that allowance would cover us through the design development we're doing this year and somewhere into the CDs, which would be future after that.
Okay. Yeah, that said, there's no reason to, our cone of uncertainty should become better and better as we learn more, right? So we should be able to have a better budget with each subsequent phase. So, okay. Let's take a vote then. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Passes unanimously. The last item, moving on to new business. The last item is, although Mark, your phrasing in the agenda, I got some texts asking me if I was resigning already, so it's not the case here.
It's not out yet.
This topic, and I'll structure as a motion in a minute. There was a there's a normal behavior apparently to allow the chair or his delegate to have authorization to spend, to authorize spend, so that we don't stop the project if there's something that comes up that needs to be approved to proceed. So that was the running. We brought this up last week, but I tabled it until this week for your return. So I wanted your input and vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, normally on the past building committees I've been on and chairman of, you have a limit with, I believe it's between 20 and 25,000.
Mr.
Yeah,
You're saying that's by, sorry.
Yeah, my experience has been 15 to 20,000. So we're in the ballpark. It's commonplace.
It still needs to show up on the agenda the following week or the week of, or just to notify that it's
Agreed.
been approved.
Agreed. Right.
That's correct.
Okay. So stating it as a motion, I'd like to make a motion to allow the chairman or his delegate to be authorized to spend $20,000 without full board approval, with the expectation of its appearance on and review of the subsequent meeting.
I'll
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Can we have a discussion?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, please, discussion.
This is for construction costs only, correct? Construction activity.
What are you excluding in that statement?
Well, if the design team came and had a change or additional services.
My perspective, and I would certainly be more than happy to modify the motion, would be that it is only for items that would impact overall schedule, if not authorized within that week's period, right? That would be my perspective. So
Perfect.
if it's not going to impact schedule, there's no reason it shouldn't wait until board review in the subsequent meeting.
All right.
And with weekly meetings, there shouldn't be, I wouldn't expect this to be implemented very often, if ever. But I would certainly make an amendment to the motion to say that, to reiterate that, so the amendment would be to be utilized only under situations where project stoppage would be impactful to the overall plan, if not voted on or authorized prior to the next scheduled meeting of the building committee.
Is that a motion?
That is an amendment to the motion.
Okay.
So I need
Second.
a second on the amendment.
Second.
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
So returning to the motion, restated with the amendment would be to authorize the chair or his delegate to be authorized to spend up to $20,000 for issues that arise that would cause project delay to the overall project within the range of this $20,000, and to be reviewed in the subsequent meeting with the full board.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, any other new business? Joe, Rod? Anyone from the,
No.
from the public or anything else? Okay. Very good. Thank you all. Great weekend. You can stop the recording. Oh, I need a motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion.
Okay. I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.